Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Nasir Soft. This is the web developing with MySQL and PHP tutorial series, and in this video we will talk about the SQL. So the outlines of this lecture are introduction, database management system, that is DBMS. Then we will see about the what is SQL, difference between SQL and MySQL, basics of SQL, basic of SQL commands, that is CRUD operations, create, retrieve, update and delete. So first we will talk about the introduction. What is data? If we talk about the database, then it's really related to the with the term data. So in simple words, data can be facts related to any object in consideration. For example, your name, your age, height, weight, extra or some data related to you. A picture, image, file, PDF, extra can also be considered the data. So what is database? Okay, so the database is a separate application that stores a collection of data. Database is a systematic collection of data. Database supports storage and manipulation of data. So database is basically the storage and manipulation of the data. Database make data management easy. What is database management system? Database management system is a collection of programs which enables its user to access database, manipulate data, reporting or representation of data. It also helps to control access to the database. What are the types of the DBMS? So first is hierarchical, second is network DBMS, and third is relational DBMS. Let's see one by one. And the fourth is object oriented relation DBMS. So first of all, what is hierarchical DBMS? This type of DBMS employs that the parent-child relationship of the storing data, as its name indicates the hierarchical. This type of DBMS is rarely used nowadays. Its structure is like a tree with nodes representing records and branches representing fields. Network DBMS. This type of DBMS supports many-to-many relations. This usually results in complex database structures. The RDM server is an example of the database management system that implemented network model. Relational DBMS. This type of DBMS defines database relationship in form of table, also known as relations. Unlike network DBMS, RDMS does not support many-to-many relationship. Relational DBMS usually have predefined data type that they can support. This is the most popular DBMS type in the market. Example of the relational database management system include MySQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server database. And in this lecture, we will talk about the MySQL. The object-oriented relation DBMS. This type supports storage of new data types. The data to be stored is in form of objects. The objects to be stored in the database have attributes, for example, gender, age, and methods that define what to do with the data. PostgreSQL is an example of an object-oriented relational DBMS. So what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language, pronounced as SQL or something like SQL. Okay, SQL is the standard language for dealing with relational databases. If you understand the basic of SQL, then you can move to MySQL or Oracle. SQL can be used to insert, search, update, and delete database records. SQL can do lots of other operations including optimization and maintenance of database. Relational database like MySQL database, Oracle, MS SQL Server, Sybase, etc. use SQL. So what is the difference between SQL and MySQL? SQL is the basic language, as I talked earlier, used for all the databases. There are minor syntax changes amongst different databases, but the basic of SQL syntax remain largely the same. SQL is used in the accessing, updating, and manipulation of data in a database. Its design allows for the management of data in an RDBMS, such as MySQL. SQL language also used for controlling data access and for creating and modification of data schema. MySQL was the one of the first open source database available in the market. SQL is a language which is used to operate your database, where the MySQL was one of the first open source database available in the market. So SQL is a language and the MySQL was the first open source database available in the market. SQL is used in the accessing, updating and manipulation of data in a database, while MySQL is an RDBMS that allows keeping the data that exists in a database organized. SQL is a structured query language and MySQL is a RDBMS to store, retrieve, modify and administrate a database. So this is the most important difference. SQL is a query language while MySQL is a database software. Okay, so if we talk about the relational database management system, that is RDBMS, so it is, what is it? It enables you to implement a database with tables, column and indexes. It guarantees the referential integrity between rows and various tables, update the indexes automatically, interpret an SQL query and combines information from various tables. Okay, if we talk about the RDBMS in more uh, terminology. Okay, so before we proceed to explain the MySQL database system, let us review a few definitions related to the database. So if we talk about the database, a database is a collection of tables with related data. What is table? A table is a matrix with data. A table in a database looks like a simple spreadsheet column. One column data element contains data of one and the same kind, for example, the column postcode. So what is the row? A row or tuple, entry or record. It is a group of related data, for example, the data of one subscription. So what is redundancy? Storing data twice. Okay, redundancy to make the system faster. What is primary key? A primary key is a unique key. Okay, value cannot occur twice in a table. With a key you can only find one row, so a uniquely identify the whole table is called a primary key. What is foreign key? A foreign key is the linking pin between two tables. We will see it later. What is the compound key? A compound key, composite key, is a key that consists of multiple columns because one column is not sufficient unique. What is index? An index in a database resembles an index at the back of a book, just like, okay. What is referential integrity? Referential integrity makes sure that a foreign key value always point to the existence row. Okay. So if we talk about MySQL, so let's move to MySQL. Okay. And what is MySQL? MySQL is a database system used on the web. MySQL is a database system that runs over a server. MySQL is ideal for both small and large applications. MySQL is very fast, reliable, and easy to use. So it uses standard SQL. It compiles on a number of platforms, is free to download and use. MySQL is developed, distributed, and supported by Oracle Corporation. MySQL is named after co-founder, that is Monty Widenius' daughter, My. So the data in MySQL database are stored in tables. A table is a collection of related data and it consists of columns and rows. Databases are usually for storing information categorically. A company may have a database with the following tables, that is employees, products, customers, and each of these tables contains the information. For example, the employee table contains the information of employee, first name, last name, extra, the products and the customers, so on, the orders. Okay, so now we will move to the basics of SQL. Okay, if you learn the basic of SQL, then it is might very easy for you to come to MySQL. So SQL keywords are not case sensitive. Some of the most important SQL commands are, that is select, update, delete, insert into, create database, alter database, create table, alter table, drop table, create index, drop index. Okay, and we will see it later. So for example, what is the select? Extracts the data from a database. Update is used to update data in a database. Delete is used for delete the data from a database. Insert into is used to insert a new data into a database. Okay, create a new database is the command that is used, create database. The alter database command modifies the database. The create table creates a new table. Alter table modifies the table. Drop table deletes a table. Create index create an index search key, and drop index that deletes an index. So first, what is the create database? Okay, so the create database command is used to create a new SQL database. Okay, the command is very simple, that is create database reserve words, and after that the database name. Okay, the create database statements is used to create a new database. Okay, oh sorry, this is the create table. Okay, so first we talk about the create database. Okay, so now let's move to your PHP admin, or if you use any SQL client. In my scenario I use SQL Yog. Okay, so it's very simple GUI, or if you want to use the PHP my admin, it's upon you. So let's create a database. So this is my MySQL SQL Yog. Okay, and here you see that at left hand there all are created database. Or if you want to not use this SQL Yog, then you can go to the localhost phpMyAdmin, and this is the similar as SQL Yog. Okay, so you can here create a database, or if you are using the SQL Yog in my scenario, just right click here and go to the create database. Okay, and give a meaningful name. For example, the database name is Nasir underscore soft. When I click on the create, then you'll see that left side the Nasir soft is database is created, and inside this one there is a table. Okay, views, store procedure, functions, triggers, and events. Okay, so now let's move to create a table inside the Nasir soft database. To create a table, create table statement is used. Okay, and the statement is very simple: create table, then the table name, and inside is body, that is parentheses, the first column name that you want to create, and its data type, the second column data type separated by the comma, and so on. Okay, for example, in this scenario, if I create a table that is persons, and the persons has the following columns: the person ID, its type is integer and its length is 10, the last name, its type is varchar. Okay, and it inside its parentheses is length is 255, and so on, and the primary key is person ID. Okay, so we created a table that is person and that have 5 rows, and the primary key is person ID. It means that person ID should not be null. Okay, so let's create a table through a command inside my newly created database, that is Nasirsoft. So to create a table, just go to the table here and right click and go to the create table. Okay, first name the create table. For example, the table name is, in my scenario, that is employee. Okay, so this is very simple. You can create table through a command, or you can create table through this GUI. Okay, so in my scenario I just created this table through GUI. Okay, I will show you how to create a table through command later. So this is the table that is employee. Okay, by default just neglect it, and the first column, that is ID. Okay, its type is integer, its length is 10, and this is the primary key. Okay, and auto increment. The second is the name, its type is varchar, and its length is, for example, 20, and similarly. Okay, if you want that name should be contain not null, so you can check it. Okay, in my scenario name should be can be empty, so therefore I not check the not null. Okay, it means that it can be null, and the name, then the address, and the address is also varchar, and address is long, so its length is 50, and so on. Just press the save button. You will see that the inside the left side the employee table is created. Okay, if you go to the table data, there is no record inside this one but the 3 columns of the employee table created. We can add here anything we want. Okay, for example, the first Nasir soft, So basically I not write inside the ID column, it is auto. I just check the auto increment. It means that it automatically assign the some unique value to it it is primary key. So the name is Nasir and its address is 10F for example. Okay, if I refresh, you can see that a new ID, that is one record, is created. Again, similarly you can write anything, insert any record inside this one. Okay, so now I create another table, for example the order, okay, through the command. You can directly create it like this one as I just show you, okay, or you can create a table through the command. Okay, before make sure that your database is selected. Okay, create table and the table name is order underscore employee for example, and inside this parentheses here the first column, that is ID, and its type is integer and its length is 10, and it should be not null, and auto increment. Okay, and at last, okay, the new column, that is the order and order name, its type is varchar, and inside the parentheses the length is for example 30, and just this one. Okay, the next is for example the description, its type is text as it should be long. Okay, and text has, you can when you use the text, then you can make it empty. Okay, for example you can pass or not the length, and at last I just make the ID a primary key with the primary key word, and inside its parentheses there is the ID. Okay, so make sure the database is highlighted, this one, and now click on this one, execute the query. You will see that the query is executed, and when I refresh, okay, and go to the Nasir soft, here two tables is created. One is employee that we create through GUI, and the second table is order in employee that we created to the commands. Okay, when I go to the table data, it is empty. So hope you will understand. So what are the MySQL data types? Properly defining the fields in a table is important to the overall optimization of your database. We should use only the type and size of field you really need to use. MySQL uses many different types broken into three categories. First is numeric, second is date and time, third is string types. Let's see these types. Numeric data type. So when we talk about the numeric, okay, so inside this one, the integer, you can read anything about the integer, its ranges, the tiny integer, small int, medium int, big int, float, double, decimal, and so on. So these all types are of the numeric. You can read this one manually by yourself. What is the date and time types? The date and time types, okay, in MySQL are as follow. The date keyword, a date is in this format between the this, for example December 30th 1973 would be stored as 1973, then the month name, that is 12, and then the day, okay, that is 30. Date time, a date and time combination in, okay, this format between the this time slot. Okay, for example if we talk about the 3:30 in the afternoon on December 30th 1973, we should store it 1973 12:30 and the time like this one. So what is the timestamp? A timestamp between midnight January 1st 1970 and something in 2037. This looks like previously date time format only without the hyphens between number. Okay, in the afternoon on December, this one would be stored like this one. Time stores the time in hour colon minutes colon second format. Year stores the year in 2 digits or 4-digit format. If the length is specified as 2, for example year 2, year can be between the 1970 to 2069, 70 to 69. If the length is specified as 4, then year can be 1901 to 2155. The default length is 4. The string data types. Although the numeric and date types are fun, most data you shall store with the string format. This list describes the common string data types in MySQL. That is char, varchar, blob or text, tiny blob or tiny text, medium blob or medium text, long blob or long text, enum. So how we can drop database and table? Okay, for example, you create a database and you want to delete it, then the command that is used, the drop database, that is reserve keyword, and then the database name. So it delete the whole database with data. The drop table command is used to drop the table, okay, or to delete the table with whole data. The command is very simple, the drop table and then the table name that you want to delete. So the alter table command is used to modify the columns. Okay, for example, in this scenario, we delete a column that is email inside the table that is customers through alter table, table name, and then the drop column, column name. Okay, so the alter table statement is used to add, delete, or modify the columns in an existing table. Okay, similarly, these all are. So if we want to change the data type of an column, so the modify column modify command is used with the alter table. So the alter table, table name, the modify column name, and its type name. So for example, in this scenario, we change the data type of the column that is last name to text. So if you want to change the column name, then with the alter table, table name, write the change column command. Okay, the first name of the column, that is full name, and we want to change it with full name. Remove the underscore. Okay, with the character 250 length. So it will change the column name to full name. The command is very simple. For example, if I change the last name to the last underscore name, then the new column is renamed to the last underscore name. So what are the SQL constraints? Constraints can be specified when the table is created with the create table statements or after the table is created with the alter table statements. Okay, for example, the create table, when we want to create a table and its column, it data type and its constraints. Okay, and the constraints are not null, ensure that a column cannot have a null value, unique, ensure that all values in a column are different, primary key, a combination of not null and a uniquely identifies row in a table, foreign key, uniquely identifies a row record in another table, check, ensure that all values in a column specified a specific condition, default sets the default value for a column when no value is specified, and the index that is used to create and retrieve data from a variant database very quickly. So SQL constraints are used to specify rules for the data in a table. Constraints are used to limit the type of data that can go into a table. This ensures that the accuracy and reliability of the data in the table. Okay, constraints can be column level or table level. Column level constraints apply to a column and a table level constraints apply to the whole table. So what is the primary key? The primary key constraints uniquely identify each record in a table. Primary keys must contain a unique value and cannot contain null value. A table can have only one primary key. So therefore we see that the primary key uniquely identified the each record in a table. And in a table, this primary key can consist of single or multiple columns field. For example, in this scenario, when I create the person's table and the I just write the at the end the primary key or make the primary key of the ID column. We can also add the primary key with alter table command. Alter table, table name, add primary key, inside this parenthesis the column name. To drop a primary key constraints, use the following SQL command. Alter table person drop primary key. So it's delete the primary key or drop the primary key. Okay. What is the foreign key? A foreign key is a key used to link two tables together. A foreign key is a field or collections of fields in one table that refer to the primary key in another table. For example, I have a table that is persons. Okay, inside this one there is a person ID, last name, first name, and age column, and the values are different. And another is that is order table, and inside the order table there is an order ID column, order number column, and person ID column. Okay, that refer to this person ID inside the person table. It means that there is an order that plays the third person ID cable. What is the third? That is Patterson. It's mean that they show me that Patterson plays an order, that order number is this one. Okay, so this person ID referred to this one. In this scenario, in this table, this is the primary key of person ID in person table, and in this one the person ID is a foreign key that is used in another table that connect the both table. Okay, so this is the primary key and this is the foreign key. Notice that the person ID columns in the orders table points to the person ID columns in the persons table. The person ID columns in the persons table is the primary key in the persons table. The person ID column in the orders table is a foreign key in the orders table. The foreign key constraints is used to prevent actions that would destroy links between tables. The foreign key constraints also prevents invalid data from being inserted into the foreign key column because it has to be one of the whole contained in the table it point to. So if we want to add a foreign key, so inside the create table orders, the foreign keyword is used foreign key and the key that you want to foreign key. Okay, person ID reference is persons and person table. Okay, so hope you will understand. The foreign key, the column name of the current table that you want to be make it foreign key, and inside the references just make the references of the table or of ID that it want or connected to the primary key. Okay. Default constraints. The default constraint is used to provide a default value for a column. The default value will be added to all new records if no other value is specified. Okay, for example, in this scenario, I created a table column that is city. Its type is varchar, length is 255, and its default value is sadness. It means that if I not enter anything inside this column, okay, its default value will be sadness. So hope you will understand.